Hey FK family, and welcome back to Vlogmas anyone. Today is Vlogmas day 5, as y'all know, and as you can see by that title, today I'm going to be doing a story time of when my daughter went to the NICU. If you guys haven't seen the story time of my birth story, I recommend going back to see that and run those likes up and comments. But we're about to hop right into this video. Make sure you like, comment, and subscribe. Hit that bell for more notifications of when I post, and stay tuned for this story time, you guys. Okay, y'all, right into the story time. Don't mind my background because I'm in my garage and I know I look crazy. But right into the story time. I told you guys right after I had Isis, you know, everything was going fine. She latched, she was doing good. When we went upstairs, they noticed her like shivering or shaking. So they end up taking her temperature, I mean like her sugar, not temperature. They did take her temperature, but that wasn't the problem. They end up taking her sugar, and they said her sugar levels were dangerously low, and then they explained to us how important sugar is for the brain, and why, you know, it was such a concern. So I want to say the nurse, she did work with me, like in giving her the like syrup to try to bring her sugar up. They gave it to her like every hour, and then they checked her sugar to see like if it went up any. So I want to say we did that for about 4 hours, just trying to bring her sugar up, trying to get her to latch again. But she had already latched, and she drank some colostrum, and you know, she just came to the world. She was tired. You know, babies be tired. But so after the 4th hour and it didn't come up, they was like, well, we're just gonna take her to the NICU. They was saying like it wasn't a big deal, and you know, wasn't nothing for me to worry about. But you know, when you just have a baby, you want your baby close to you, you want to cuddle with your baby, you just want to watch your baby. So for them to be taking her to the NICU, it was just like I just had her. So I'm like, okay, you know, I understood. They said it wasn't a big deal. But then when it came time to take her to the NICU, they like rolled in with an incubator, like, you know, the whole shebang. Like it was an incubator, the little things to go on her body. Like, what are those called? Like the monitors. And that, when I seen that, like I automatically bust out in tears, because it's like, y'all saying it's not a big deal, but y'all bringing the whole shebang. Like, and they were trying to reassure me and tell me everything was okay, but I just didn't understand, like, well, everything okay? Like, why are y'all bringing the incubator and stuff? So they end up taking her. They was like, you know, you can visit her whenever you like, because I still had to be there too for like a day or so for them to monitor me, because I was high risk and could experience preeclampsia again. So I stayed there for 2 days. I have to call him back to some further calling. I stayed there for, you know, my 2 days after you have a baby. But I was checking on her constantly. Like, it was draining me, honestly, because when they did take her, like, if you ever experience the NICU, you have to have a password to get into the NICU. And then we were adjointed with another baby, and the other baby was just having work done on him. And it's just a sad sight to see, because you never want your baby to go to the NICU. It don't matter how small or big, it's just that experience. I wouldn't wish it on anyone. When she did go to the NICU, when I finally like came in there and seen her, she had an IV in, she had like the cords all over her. When I picked her up, I had to have, you know, everything on her, the cords, and just experience of that. It was not the same as, you know, just doing skin to skin and binding with your baby. We were binding, I can't even say it. Bonding, there we go. We were bonding, but I just felt like just kind of stressed, because just, you know, my baby in the NICU. And then also they were telling us like they were feeding her through the IV. It would get in her bloodstream faster if they did the IV. But what they didn't tell me is that they had to poke her like 4 or 5 times. So I'm seeing all of this like just on her body, and I'm like, well, like they didn't really comfort me, you know what I'm saying, or like tell me what really was going on. When I did get to the NICU, they treated every like baby like, okay, we gotta do this, da 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 da, we gotta do this, da da da. And when it came time to talking to me, because I was there, like every time a doctor came in there, I was there. I wanted to know what was going on, what was our next plans, what were we gonna do, because I want my baby out. And then by this time, it's like the 3rd day. Like I stayed in the hospital a week after I had her. I boarded there downstairs while she was in the NICU, and that was kind of a hassle because I kept having to go up and down, and I was trying to pump. I wasn't producing any milk, so we had her on donor milk. So that was kind of stressful because I wasn't producing any milk. We had her on donor milk. Then when I talked to the doctors to see what was the next steps, one said they wanted to put a tube down her throat or go in through her chest, or no, not her chest, her belly button. So I'm just like, what the heck? Like, y'all said it's not a big deal, but y'all trying to, you know, force a tube down her throat or go in through her belly button. Like, it was not making sense. And then just a simple fact, like, they did all these IVs on her, and I know they say little babies after a while it reject, but it was just like they didn't even tell me. Like, I didn't know anything. I had to keep asking like, hey, you know, when was the last time she ate? What, you know, I never experienced this. So experiencing it's just like, what the hell am I supposed to do? Like, I'm supposed to protect my baby, and what the heck am I supposed to do? So I was checking every hour or so. You guys, I barely got any sleep. Like, at that time in the hospital, I barely got any sleep, and I know that was why I wasn't producing any milk, because I was stressing. I was like just all over the place. I was worrying about my kids at home, and then trying to take care of, you know, my baby that I just brought into this world, and then dealing with doctors. I truly dislike dealing with multiple doctors, because one got an opinion to do this and one got an opinion to do that, and it's like what are we gonna do? So I want to say the 4th day, like they kept promising us we're gonna go home, if her sugar was good, excuse me, if her sugar was good at a tolerable number, then they were gonna wean her off the insulin they was giving her. And it's like when she ate, her sugar rose, but it would go down, you know, during the hours of when she didn't eat. So our options were either the tube down the throat or through the belly button. But I'm just like, no, we're gonna keep feeding her through this IV you guys got, because y'all did 5 IVs, and the sugar, it was working, the insulin, it was working. So I want to say like the 5th day, they weaned her off, and then we went down. I want to say after the NICU, it's like rainbow baby, but they still monitor the baby, but you just go on rainbow side. So when we went on rainbow side, they saw that her IV rejected, and they had to do another IV. So I overheard them, like they were talking like I wasn't even in the room. And it's like, I feel like they do that with younger moms, thinking we don't know, or you know what I'm saying? Like, so they were like, we're just gonna have to stick the tube down her throat. We're just gonna do that because this is her such and such IV. Like, I want to say they said like 5th or 6th IV, and I said, what? That's when I was like, oh no. Like, I went off. I'm like, y'all not putting no tube down her throat. I was just crying and just like, oh my god, like, oh my goodness, y'all. It was just so many emotions that took over, because it was like, no, y'all not about to stick no tube down her throat. And this was, we was out of the NICU, we was on rainbow side. So I'm just like, I don't understand. Like, we're going backwards, we're not going forward. I had to like, it wasn't given, we're about to go. So, and it's like, I know everything is for the safety of my baby, but I feel like what they were saying, they were like, well, they're babies, you know, they don't feel it, they don't. IV, they tried to flush her IV, but it was a bad IV. So when they tried to flush it, one nurse tried to flush her IV, and they was like, I want to say she stopped, and she was like, yeah, this is a bad IV. The other nurse tried, and she started screaming. And the only reason I know what a bad IV feel like is because the day before I had to get my IV taken out, and they was trying to flush it, and it hurted bad. Like, so it's like, I know, just because they're newborns and they're little people and they can't tell you, oh, that hurt, don't mean it don't hurt them. Or like, you know, I just feel like they treated them like, oh, you know, they're babies, they don't feel it, they don't. But it's like, I see it, I feel what they feel. And when they tried to flush it, she like screamed. So it's like, oh, I just was over. I'm like, no, we're not doing that. It's a no. So they did another IV. It came out good, it was successful, and they was like, yeah, we would have tried to stick the tube, I want to say down her nose, not her throat, however they do it. But they was like, if we would have stuck it down her nose, you know, she would have had a fit. And it's like, yeah, because these are like, you know, tiny humans, they are somebody. And just because they can't tell you like, hey, that hurts, don't mean it don't hurt. Like the whole experience overall that I had with the NICU and Rainbow, it was just a no for me. I would not wish that on anybody. Like, it was a no for me, and I just was so sad. I was depressed, and I felt like I had to protect my baby. And sometimes if you feel like that with doctors in the hospital, you tell them, you share that with them, because you know what's best. Even though they got their degrees, and you know what's best, and you have to tell them that, like, no, don't sign anything without thoroughly reading it or getting a background on it, because they will have you sign some shit that you don't have a clue. They wouldn't need to sign a paper to either go through her belly button, or, but it's like, if we're moving forward and her sugar's going up, why is we about to try to force something through her belly button, through her nose? And she's 5 days old, and when they told me that, she was only like 3 days old. But I'm just like, oh my god, like, every day it was something different, something new. Like, it was just an experience I never want to experience again. But overall, it was just a crazy experience. But the 7th day we went home, I ended up producing milk the 7th day, and as soon as I like produced a little bit of milk, they snatched her off donor milk. And I was so afraid that I was not making enough to feed her. I'm like, what the, like, oh my goodness, they seen me bring like a little bit of milk, and they snatched her off donor milk, y'all. Like, so when her sugar did drop, it was because, I want to say the last time, it was because I felt like I didn't have enough milk, and she was drinking more and more, and it was like I was just producing what she should have had the first day, you know what I'm saying? So they took her off donor milk. They did so many IVs. They wanted me to sign the paper to either do a tube down her nose or a tube in her belly button. Like, just always go with your first mind. Always go with your first mind. I say that to say, always go with your first mind. If you're uncomfortable about something, don't do it. If your mom's senses are tingling, don't do it. Do not, okay? But I hope you guys enjoyed this story time. I hope you guys like, comment, and share. Hit that bell for more notifications of when I post. And stay tuned for Vlogmas Day 6, you guys. This is Vlogmas Day 5. I'm loving this series. Vlogmas, anyone? Like, I really like that. But stay tuned. Thank you guys for the support, and we'll be back tomorrow.